party looked directly. They didn't look at each other in a confrontational way. They were looking at the paperwork, at the issue.
Or between the two people.
Right. And we had it, the carpeting, the walls, the table were all different hues of a moss green with just a tad of tan in it. So the carpet was moss green and tan speckled. The walls were a soothing moss green, as was the table, which absorbs, you know, if you've ever walked in a mossy forest, what does it do? Relaxes and you sink into it. So we had a waiting room. It was really interesting. What we had was a waiting room out here. So it was a smaller triangle. And people would walk in here. And it was interesting because we had a receptionist out here and little chairs, and the people would be nervous when they came in because they didn't know what was going to happen in there. They'd walk in there, and regardless of the outcome, when they walked out, they said, "Wow, I can't believe how good that felt."
What's the significance of the room being a triangle?
It matches everything else. It's again, you're not going to have energy that bounces back off on you. So it's going to come this way and this way and this way, rather than right at you. So remember Gary's story. If you wish to sell someone, if you wish to get them on your side, literally be on their side. If I have a problem that I'm dealing with in a group, so I will, if they have disagreements about issues, then I'll put it up here. I take it and put it here, because I don't want it on me or at each other. I want it up here so we can look at it, put a different frame around it, do something with it up here. So, does that, everything is communication. Where we sit, the colors that are around us, the level at which we sit. Here's an interesting thing. I do a lot of boundary work with people, and that's what the book From the Inside Out is about, is boundary issues. There's something called the victim triangle, in which people assign meanings to certain behaviors and get caught in a loop. So the victim triangle goes like this. Here is a victim, and their mentality is that the world always hurts me in some way. You know, I can't deal with it. And usually what has happened at some point in their life is they have had a bully in their life that has victimized them. Okay? The other angle to that is a rescuer. Now these aren't people, they're roles, and one person can take all roles in different contexts. Okay? So let's say that I get a tax bill that's way over what I'd planned, which does happen to me. And if I choose to see it from the perspective of a victim, who's the bully? IRS. Or the government, the guys who passed the laws that caused me to pay all this. So I can feel victimized by them. Now, who might be a rescuer? Who might I seek as a rescuer?
Accountant.
Lawyer or accountant, or someone who tells me I could put it in a trust fund. So I might then get with them. But now if the rescuer doesn't do it in the way that I want them to, where are they going to move? To bully. Now, if I perceive then that this person is not protecting me, rescuing the way I want it, I put them over here, Now, if I get really angry at them and I go find another attorney to sue him, where do I go? And this person then goes here. So you can do this. Now, what's really interesting in questioning people about the different roles when they take them is that in their mind, in something called a social panorama, which was coined by a fascinating sociologist from Amsterdam. He's from Amsterdam. Social panorama, where we put concepts and people in our mind field, is if I'm feeling like a victim, I put bully and rescuer up here. If I'm a rescuer or a bully, I put the concept of the person with whom I'm interacting down here. In order to get a contextual reframe, what I often do is invite them, if they're being in victim mode, whoever they feel victimized, whether it's in the past or the present or a feared future, is have them take the concept of the bully, which is up here somewhere, and put it below them. And they go, oh, look at all the options I have here. Shifts perspective. So if I'm rescuing all the time and I see all these poor victims that need my help and these bullies, very often what I do is put the bully up here, the victim down here, and I'm fighting. Well, what do I get out of that? So we look at positive intention. If I'm rescuing all the time, what are some of the things that I might get out of that?
Feeling of superiority.
Feeling of superiority? You have something you want to Do you feel like a hero?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hero to the rescue.
On the other hand, you also feel trained.
And often that comes from being a martyr. Now, you can... Oh, whoa!
Bingo.
Bingo, hit it. You got it.
Connection with the people you're rescuing.
Connection, that's right. So there's connection, there's getting to feel like a hero. And if you're a hero, by the way, where do you go in the panorama? From here to here.
Yeah, variety.
Yeah. Mighty Mouse, here I come.
Superman.
Say again? Superman. Spider-Man, Superman, they always come from above, don't they? Shoo. Yeah. So connection, I get to be hero, martyr, which is a martyr is sort of above it all, aren't they? I sacrifice so much. It's never appreciated. So that's a contextual reframe as well. Okay. So notice whenever you feel frightened of someone, you feel that there is a behavior in a context that's not useful for you, notice where you're placing these people around you. Often, too, you'll place the bully right in front of you, in your face. He's in my face. Literally, that's what you're doing in your mind field. And so, what if you move them down over here? What if you put them in your hand?
I just remember something I did. I had a problem with people. I went hiking. As soon as I got up there, I saw them right down there.
And what happened?
That's so good. They were not important anymore.
Uh-huh. Did you hang on to that?
No.
You can now.
I mean, hang on to that, yes.
That.
I mean, the feeling, no.
The feeling. You can now. So whenever you have a feeling you don't like with them, put them down there. Remember that. And put them down there.
Yeah, I didn't hang on to the bad feeling.
Oh, you didn't hang on. Oh, good. Okay, sorry. Thank you. You did
that
not.
all the time.
Okay, so you're already doing that. So what she did was that was a context reframe, putting them down here. which created a new response in you, a new feeling. Excellent. Congratulations. She just gave you a skill. Okay. It's interesting, I was sent by her company a woman who was basically told, go see Jan, change your behavior, or get fired. She was an engineer. She had a master's degree in engineering and was extremely, extremely smart. She antagonized everyone she worked for, that she worked for, with, and who worked for her. And I noticed when she talked about it, she talked about the people who had PhDs, the people who had master's degrees, and the people who didn't.
Oh boy.
So I said, how interesting. I said, where do you place these concepts of these people? And of course, PhDs, masters. And then I asked her, well, is your relationship with these? Well, I'm always trying to prove to them I'm as good as them, and I'm trying to make sure they know they're not as good as me. So I said, what would it be like to have a concept where you, in relationship to everyone in the world, is at a level, only you're each unique shape and form and color, and it's just in a big net. What is that like? Try it on. And she went, oh, that's so relaxing. Can you imagine the energy it takes to do this? So, yeah. Yeah, but you knew tool now. And we're always trying to keep people out or in or up or down in this mind field and in the concept. So what if we change the context? What if we put them in a different place, the relationship in a different place? Okay. I had a couple that I counseled, and she was complaining how authoritative he was all the time and never listened to her. And I had never met him. I had met her. And she was very small. So I was visiting them in Finland. They lived in Finland. And she said, okay, we're coming in for counseling together. I said, fine. I walked in, he was really tall. So I had them say, I want you to talk to each other for a while. And they sat in chairs, and man, there was no conversation. So I said, fine. I had her stand on a chair. And they were face to face talking. Changed everything. She felt heard. He felt safer, actually.
He felt safe.
He felt safer. He didn't have to worry that he might say something wrong. That when they were face to face, he just felt more comfortable, safer. Isn't that interesting? Mm-hmm. He didn't feel more threatened. He felt less threatened. That's where the experimentation, by the way.
There's some Virginia Satir videos I've seen where she takes the children, puts them up at the same
That's
level as
right.
the adults to talk to each other. It's a neat thing for both of them, they say, afterwards.
It really, yeah. They both love it.
Yeah.
She would also, when she talked to a child, get down on the floor with the child instead of talking down to the child. So space is also context. Okay, now let's talk about meaning and how meaning gets changed. So if we were going to meaning is the interpretation that we assign to a behavior, isn't it? When you yell at me, it's because you're angry at me. Okay, that's a meaning, yeah? And so if I assign that meaning to you yelling at me, I'm going to have a certain response, both internally and then externally. I might fight you, I might cower from you, but I've given that a meaning. What if I reframe the meaning?